Welcome back to Rav Pinson's podcast, where ancient wisdom meets modern man. This episode was sponsored by Avraham ben Moshe in honor of a refuah shalema ukreva for his father. Today's episode is part 1 of a special Sukkot edition Q&A and the 6th in our Q&A series.
Rav Pinson, we are here after both Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and now we're going into the days of Sukkot. Is it a coincidence that Sukkot falls after these days of awe? Because Sukkot are characterized by joy.
Yeah, so this is a very important thing that we have to understand, that the Yom Tovim, the holidays of the year, follow a certain progression. It's a progress. There's a process. There's an unfolding that's occurring. So every Yom Tov, every holiday follows the next one, and it's based on a certain seasonal pattern, and it's supposed to develop us and open us up. And we have to go through the Yom Tovim, we have to go through the holidays, understanding that one's leading to the next, and each one's building on the next one in order to get through a full cycle of the year. Hopefully we spiral into a higher place. So in terms of Yom Kippur and Sukkot, the transition from going from a place of Yom Kippur to Sukkot is as follows: that Yom Kippur is essentially a time that we say that it's Itzuma Shel Yom. Itzuma Shel Yom means like the essence of the day. The essence of the day brings acquittal. The essence of the day brings atonement. Whether we have to participate or not, that's already debate, whether we have to do tshuva or not. But the idea is that the essence of the day brings acquittal, which means that the idea of Yom Kippur is that on Yom Kippur, a person is supposed to live in a state where they strip themselves of all attachments to this world. Anything that they feel very much attached to, whether it's in terms of their relationship, in terms of their status, in terms of their power, their money, and what to eat, everything that a person that's connected to the person's outside world, we let go. That's really what the idea of Yom Kippur is, to let go of every single attachment. Even the Kohen Gadol, when it talks about the high priest entering Yom Kippur, it says, Mafrishin Kohen Gadol Beisei. He has to separate himself from his home, which means a person has to separate themselves from the mundane life that they're living and the attachments to everything and the drama that's attached to everything that they're living with, and enter into like this spacelessness, built yitzur, non-form space. It's almost like entering into a mikvah, a ritual bath, a mikvah of time, like going underwater in time. Just like you can go to a mikveh, you can go to a ritual bath in space. You can actually go into a body of water, of living water. So Yom Kippur is like entering into the mikvah Hashem, to this ritual bath of Hashem, to enter into this conceptual, dynamic, flowing, fluid space where a person is completely divested himself of everything that they're connected with. This is the type of freedom that we're supposed to achieve. But ultimately, that's not the way we're supposed to live, because we live in a place of form, and we live in a place that we are attached. You're attached to your body. You're attached to your family, to things, the healthy attachments that you're really connected to. And that's why at the end of Yom Kippur, there was a great celebration when the high priest, the Kohen Gadol, returned l'beisei. When he returned back to his home, there was a great celebration, because that's the returning back into the space. So, essentially, in terms of this development, is that in the process of tshuva, in the process of this deep inner transformation that a person is experiencing, and the total letting go of everything, a person can enter into a space where they don't find their footing, because I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not defined by this attachment, not defined by that attachment. So who am I? What is my aspirations? What am I living for? Because if you really, in a very deep existential level, like let go of everything, so then who are you? And that's why sometimes when people go through at least the initial stages of tshuva, of real transformations in their life, sometimes they lose themselves in the process, because they're shedding a certain way of living, of a certain way of being, and therefore they let go of that. But in the process of letting go of that, who do they become? Like, who are they? So that's the idea of letting go. That's the idea of tshuva. And that's healthy for a first state, for the first step in a process of developing is the letting go. That's what the Yom Kippur represents. Then Hashem basically tells us, this is what the Torah is saying, that we have to make a sukkah. What is the sukkah saying? The sukkah is saying is, Hashem is saying, God is saying, I'm going to carve for you a certain place. The place is going to be a safe place. It's going to be B'tzilul Dimnus. It's going to be under my canopy, under my wings. And I want you there in this new carved out space. It's a temporary space. That's the whole idea. It's a temporary space, a temporary dwelling. I want you to enter into that place of my embrace, that the sukkah represents the embrace of the Infinite One, embracing us. That's like similar to like the walls represent a full body embrace. And Hashem is saying, come into my space. And in this safe space that you can be now, develop yourself. Tell me who you want to become. Because I know that you don't want to be the previous person that you were. And you want to grow from you want to unhinge yourself from the negative patterns of behaviors that you were stuck in. And it could be very, dark things, or it could be very subtle things. But if a person saying, okay, now I want to become much more. So Hashem says, okay, I'm going to carve you out of space. This is going to be a sacred space. And in this space, which you're coming from a place of spacelessness, which you haven't found your grounding, Hashem says, I'm coming to my place, coming to my sacred space. And in that place, find yourself and create the image, the tzura, the form that you want to create for yourself. That's why in the sukkah, what you're doing is you're sitting under the schach. You're sitting under these branches, which represents, schach is 100, which Ari says represents this place of transcendence. It also represents the world, which is called Olam HaMalbush, the world of possibility. It's like the metaboard that has the potential of all creation. Everything is created within a particular form, which is a certain type of expression, a particular type of expression. And the world of Malbush is where the potential of all expressions can be revealed, which is the ultimate place of the potential. So you're sitting in the place of the sukkah, and Hashem is saying, now that you're sitting in this place of pure potential, and you can rewrite your story, tell me the story that you want to rewrite it. And there has to be a joint effort, because the whole process of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, in terms of its development, is personal responsibility. That's what Rosh Hashanah is really about. And Rosh Hashanah is Hashem's telling us, and Rosh Hashanah is that I can be the master of the universe without you, but I want you to participate. I want you to be a subject in my kingdom, which means Ein Melech V'lo Yam. There's no king without a subject, which means I want you. Not only that I should be the ruler of the world, but I want to be the king, which means I need a willing participant in this development. So Rosh Hashanah is really a time of our responsibility. That's why it represents the birth of mankind. The birth of mankind, what mankind is, what a human being is, to be human is to take responsibility for their life, not to live as an autopilot, not to live as the cause, but to become that in effect, but to become the cause of your life. And to live and to take responsibility. So in the process of responsibility, Hashem is saying, okay, you let go. You untied yourself from all constrictions. Now I want you to tell me, in your own words, in your own imagination, tell me what you want to become. Tell me, let's co-create you. Tell me what is your dreams, what are your aspirations. So on Sukkot, we actually sit in a place which is very important, that the schach, that the covering, which is the Olam HaMalbush, that place of potential, we should be sitting under that shadow. And that's why, if the walls are very tall and you're sitting on the shadow of the wall, it's not going to be a kosher sukkah. It has to be under 20 amos. It has to be under a certain, like about 30 feet, because then you're sitting under the schach, you're sitting under the covering, which means that there has to be more shade than sun. You have to sit in the place that's more tzeil, more shade than sun. The sun, what the sun represents is when we say Ein kol chadash tachas hashemesh, which means that there's nothing new under the sun. That's the expression, right? So the idea that there's nothing new under the sun represents the world of predictability, the world of, what was yesterday will be tomorrow, and is today will be tomorrow. So in the world of predictability, in the world of just things are just in the state of their autopilot, there's no possibility for newness. There's no possibility for chadash. There's no possibility for imagination, for dream. And on the times of Sukkot, we have to sit in a place that's silasa, that there's more shade than the sun. So silasa represents like in terms of our own consciousness, it represents like our subconscious, like the place of our dream and our imagination. That's why Sukkot is a time also for prophecy. And prophecy, I don't mean prophecy like, to predict the future, but real prophecy, like inner prophecy, like deeper, like intuition, very deep spiritual intuition of like, who am I? This is why Sukkot is say that the word sukkah actually comes from the word like Sacha Baruch HaKodesh, where it talks about Sarah. It says that she's called because she has the same root of the word sukkah, which means to have like a higher vision, a deeper premonition, a deeper understanding of who we really are. That's why also Sukkot is connected. This Yom Tov is connected with Simchas Beis Sheva, which is the drawing of the waters, which Sham Shoivim Ruach HaKodesh. This is where we drew the idea of Ruach HaKodesh, which is a holy, divine inspiration. So the whole idea of Sukkot is to sit in this sacred space when the space is actually clarified, and it's Hashem's space. So the avir, the atmosphere is purified, so we can create and imagine in a very healthy way, in a holy way, of like how do we live our full potential in this world? Like what is our true potential? How are we going to live it? What's the dream? What's the dream that we're living with? Like, forget about what you were and who you were in the past and what your chamasa was, what your sun reality, your world of predictability, and where you were, because you gave that all up on Yom Kippur. Like, you entered into that spacelessness, and now you enter back into space. Tell me what your dream is. This is what Hashem is saying. Hashem is saying, I want you to sit in my sukkah. I'm going to give you the potential for everything. I'm going to carve out the space for you. It's everything is going to be Shem Shemayim. Everything's going to be the name of Hashem is going to rest on the sukkah, which means I'm entering into that place, So create it. Be the co-creator in this co-creation story, and tell me what your imagination, tell me what your dream is. And that's why it's very interesting that that at the end of Sukkot, there's two Yom Tov, two holidays that come together. But the last day of Sukkot is a 7-day holiday, is Hashanah Rabbah, and on the night of Hashanah Rabbah, which is the final night, it says that it's brought up in the Zohar. And then it's brought down a lot of many of the commentaries also bring this down. The early Rishonim, the Ramban, the Rekanti, etc. That a person should stand in the moon and see whether they see their shadow. In the code of Jewish law already, it says in Shulchan Aruch, it says that you shouldn't really do this because you don't know what you're looking for. But let's say theoretically, what the idea was is you can stand in the moon and look at your shadow, and if you see your shadow, that means that you're going to have a good year. You're going to live out this year. And if you don't, God forbid that you're not going to complete this year. Like you're not alive. You won't be alive. And what the depth of what that means is, if for 7 days you were sitting in a sukkah or you were celebrating sukkahs, and you came from a real place in Yom Kippur where you really let everything go, and now you're sitting in the world of Ma'at, you're sitting in this possibility, and you're creating. If after 7 days there is no dream, there is no tzel, there's no shadow, and you can't see a shadow. There's nothing there. I didn't create anything. Then what Hashem is really saying is that you're not going to live this year. Not that, God forbid, you're going to die. That's on one level. But on a deeper level, it means you're ready. You're a dead man walking. Meaning you're living without aspirations, living without desire. You don't have any. You function. You eat. You sleep. You do everything you have to do. But you're not alive. You're not fully alive. There's no. You're not an Adam. You're not a person. A person lives with Adam. A man has the same numeric value as the word ma, which is a question mark, which is desire, a longing. What do I want? What's my shifas? What is my desires? What do I aspire for myself? I aspire for myself, for my family, for all the class, for the world. What's the aspiration? What's the big aspiration? What's the personal aspiration? So this is what we have to think about, like when we're going from the process of Yom Kippur, from this process of the spacelessness and feeling completely unhinged and free and totally letting go. We have to understand that the ultimate purity is not in the process of the letting go. The ultimate purity, just like similar to in a mikveh, like literally in a ritual bath, that the ultimate purity is actually when you're emerging from the mikveh, not when you're under the water. The same thing also is with this process of Yom Kippur and Sukkot. The ultimate way to know whether your Yom Kippur is really successful is not if you totally let go and you disappeared on the mountaintop because you just detach yourself from everything. But if you can return from that place of the underwater and you can return in a healthy way and create healthy attachments and healthy desires and healthy yearnings and healthy dreams and healthy ambitions from the place of totally non-attachment. So it's a dream that comes, it's an aspiration that comes without anxiety. That would be the difference. It doesn't come with all the tension. It's not an aspiration and a dream and a desire that is, God forbid, over another person. Like, it's not about me being successful more than somebody else. That's already still within the world of like, of attachments and negativity. It's about why am I created? Like, who am I? What's my full potential that I can live in this world? Forget about with the other person. Like, I don't have to make myself bigger by putting you down, but I have to be as big as I can because Hashem, God gave me these potentials. So, what is your dream? That is what Hashem is saying, and therefore this process is very elevating and elating and joyful to like really create it and then eventually live it. So this is the process that we're going from Yom Kippur. We end up into the Yom Tov of Sukkot.
Wow, thank you very much. That really is a tremendous gift that we have this process. Thank you for explaining.
Exactly. It is a tremendous gift that we have this process. We have to just make sure that we actually we truly live this process. Not not just go through another year. That's okay. We did, we experienced it and now we move forward. We have to understand we're trying to move in life. We're trying to grow. Every year we have to go a little deeper. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Rav Pinson's podcast. To submit questions or to sponsor a future episode, please email ravpinsonpodcast@gmail.com. The link is in the description below.